this is a stereotypical like NFL thing where you see, people trying to jump on the Mahomes train, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's super comparable to Patrick Mahomes." And it's like Patrick Mahomes is such a freak athlete. It's like we're already looking for a successor. It's like he just started.
Yeah, this is 2 years,
third season.
Yeah.
2 years starting.
It's like you're looking for the heir apparent already, and I don't know. I don't know the stuff on Jordan Love. I really don't. I can't really speak too much about him. But it's like you're calling him Patrick Mahomes like already. You've already anointed him, and you're thinking the Packers are going to have their third Hall of Famer in a row. It's like, dude, that's asking a lot. Especially for a team that doesn't draft fucking receivers and doesn't get specialty people.
Never.
I was talking to Brian about that too, because the receiver point is when they went and took CeeDee Lamb. You see Mike McCarthy get up out of his chair. He's grinning from ear to ear, like, man, I've never done this before. This is exciting. Oh man. But then, more seriously, to your point though, as far as Mahomes goes, like we talked about it a little bit. I think it was just us shooting shit, but as far as Patrick Mahomes go, like he has a number of interviews where he talks about how important Alex Smith was to his development.
Right.
And on top of that, you look at so say he goes to Houston, right? I mean, obviously DeAndre Hopkins is DeAndre Hopkins, and Deshaun Watson goes to
Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Who's more likely to look the way the other one looks now? I think that Deshaun Watson's more likely to look like Patrick Mahomes in this system.
Yeah.
And, maybe Patrick Mahomes is to look like a successful version of Deshaun Watson in Houston.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, the other thing is the coaching styles where, especially the Kansas City. That's the thing too. Is everyone says like Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a system quarterback that got put into New England and got put in the right situations. It's like that's how it is. I mean, Deshaun Watson.
For almost every player.
Yeah,
you could argue that for almost every successful player. Sure.
Absolutely. And Deshaun Watson is like balling out with absolutely no offensive lineman.
Right.
He had DeAndre Hopkins. He's getting hit all the time. And Bill O'Brien, I mean, he's a terrible GM. I don't know if he's a good coach because the GM stuff is overshadowing him now.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is, it's like, I don't know. It's such a hypothetical. It's like you can't really tell. I do agree with you. I think DeAndre Hopkins is probably the bigger name between him and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes goes to the Texans, but I mean, as good as I'm spacing on their number one receiver's name,
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, yeah, as good as Tyreek Hill is, I mean, could you imagine Patrick Mahomes with DeAndre Hopkins?
Well, that's what my kind of argument was that I don't think that he becomes as good as he is so fast.
Okay, okay, I get you.
Of Alex Smith as well as having Bill O'Brien instead of Andy Reid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I still think he's like an all-star, and
I think he eventually figures it out. He is definitely athletic enough, like you said. Like he does things with the ball that you can't teach.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, to that point, like you're talking about people going into systems, and my mind automatically goes to like RG3.
Mm-hmm.
Redskins didn't want RG3, and he gets hurt, and they're like, "Okay, cool, Kirk Cousins time."
Yeah,
right. And then
or Josh Rosen's another good example of like the system just not working and kind of ruining your career. Where he bounced around from 2-3 teams now, and he's just not catching a break.
Yeah. I mean, he's on his second team, and both teams have been really bad.
Yeah. I mean, but the other thing is too with Josh Rosen, it's like I was never fully like sold on him. I think that was a lot more.
Sure, that's probably more of a project, and Kyler Murray's athleticism can get him out of situations like a Deshaun Watson.
Right, and what you kind of need, I mean, with the way the teams are going right now, the way the CBA is going, it's a lot harder for offensive linemen to get reps with shoulder pads in. It's like you got to have a mobile quarterback. You got to have a guy that's able to like throw on the run, which is why the Bears went with like someone like Trubisky because, I mean, regardless between Trubisky, Watson, and Mahomes, like you're gonna have a mobile quarterback. I mean, they just clearly chose the wrong one. Either one of those is a vast improvement over Trubisky, but that's what you got to do. And now with Nick Foles, it kind of goes back on like me saying, well, I think he's going to be taken to whatever. You still have like teams that can utilize like a stationary quarterback, like Alex Smith. I mean, he's a really good downfield runner. Once he played with the Chiefs and with Andy Reid and. I kind of think that you're going to see more of an Alex Smith type offense with God, I'm
Nick
spacing
Foles.
with Foles and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it could work, and Nick Foles he's been one where he, like Kyle said, he doesn't really make mistakes. And with that defense, that's generally what you're looking for, is someone who can hit the open completion and then not make turnovers.
Yeah.
You know, move the ball and keep the defense on the sideline enough to get a breather, to not be tired by the fourth quarter.
And that's
what killed the Bears this year. So
going 3 and out.
Yep.
You know,
to the Alex Smith point and kind of that Kansas City culture going in there, like the Bears defense is far and away better than anything Kansas City has had in a long time at defense. So, I mean, they had like their defense this year when they won the Super Bowl was, I've said it before, it was 3 players. It was Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Tyrann Mathieu. That's it. And they were all out of their minds that whole month and a half of the playoffs. So.
But that's the thing. That's the thing with football. You gotta get hot at the right time.
Right.
And
yeah.
if you can get multiple players in 3 stacked positions to like step up, like that's gonna be huge. And it also helps. You know, you get a pass rush. You know, the people like the weaker defenders, like for cornerbacks or safeties or free safeties, middle linebackers. If the quarterback doesn't have time to go through his progressions,
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with Trubisky, it's only 1 progression, so I mean, really gotta stop. Fine, but. This is going to be a Bash Trubisky podcast.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just Trubisky he really confuses me because he has games like he did last year against Dallas where he looked so good, and then the next week it was just right back to, we should have drafted this guy.
Right. I mean, he has glimmers, and you know he has the capability to be a special player.
Mm-hmm.
He never like takes the reins to do that. Like I mean, I've heard that he's not that bad of a guy in the locker room, and everyone had his back. I mean, even as bad as he was doing, the locker room had his back.
Yeah,
and I think he's a good dude, but I don't think he's got what it takes to be. You know, especially last year. Last year, you know, I was like Trubisky is either going to be an MVP candidate or he's going to be basically off the team. Like that's how I didn't see there being a middle ground with him, and he was the ladder, he was bad for the team or whatever, but he just doesn't have that like extra like level where he can have some good performances, but when you need him to be like Mr. Clutch, like he'll give you some drives to get you a little hope, but once it's all laid out, he's missing a wide open receiver when there's nobody there.
I don't even know if you need that much though. Like that exact same quarterback got the Niners to the Super Bowl. I mean, he wasn't Mr. Clutch, obviously, but he still got that team. And, I mean, their front 7 is good, but you could, you know, pound for pound, your guys has got to be right there with them.
Yeah, I mean,
the Niners go. So, I mean, even if you get like a quarterback like the quality of a Jimmy G, it's different offenses, though. I mean, they run the hell out of the ball. They have like 6 running backs, and any of them can chunk you for, you know, 20, 30 yards.
And they have a really good offensive line, too.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. Is like their offensive line is just freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're so goddamn stacked, and their running game is so good. I can't remember what game it was. I think it was like the second game last year where in the first half the Bears ran the ball 5 times, and you have David Montgomery. And you have
I remember that. Yeah,
and I'm like, what are you doing? And I think they ended up with like 8 for the game.
Yeah, because he drafted Montgomery last year in fantasy, and he was so salt. He was like.
Yeah, but Montgomery looked, to me, when I watched him, he looked good.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Montgomery.
But then there were just times where it's like they didn't give him the ball, and it's like, why? He looks like your best, you know, initial running back, like your number 1 guy.
Right. And what's weird, too, then, once you look at, I don't know, I do think it's a combination of Trubisky and, you know, Nagy. I think Nagy really went in with the hype of, okay, I just won Coach of the Year. Like, I can't do anything wrong. And, like, he tries to get a little too cute with stuff, and especially with a quarterback like Trubisky. He's like, I'm not going to give up my game plan, which I don't think, like, I think a coach should adjust and actually know the talents of, like, what he can do and what he can't do. And maybe there's a disconnect from what Trubisky could do during practice and what he was doing in the game, because I don't know, maybe he's making those throws in practice, and maybe he's hitting them, and maybe it's you know, under pressure. I can't speak to that. I could be completely off base, but
there's got to be enough there for him to have started every game last year.
Yeah, and to have the plays called the way he is, I don't think Matt Nagy's stupid. Like
Right.
I don't think he's going to beat like a dead, bang the drum or whatever and all. But it's the game plan's got to change. Like you can't run the ball 8 times, and their offensive line was okay at that point. Like it was all right, but it's not anything like the Niners. But you still got to run the ball. Even if you're only getting 2 yards a dig or you're getting some losses or whatever, that's fine. Set up screen, set up play action, because once play action was there for Trubisky, that's when he was making plays.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what it works for Kansas City, is like once you run the ball and you open it up downfield where you can do those running, play action type things.
Which, to that too, has always killed me about the Cowboys. It's like you have one of the best running backs in the league, and you'll just be like, yeah, we're going to throw the ball 40 times a day.
Right.